He doesn't know. I thought Gaylon was going to come talk to Gary about practice bike. Is Gaylon going to carry the bike, or are you?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you going to take the bike for Gaylon? Why not Gaylon? He's carrying the bike. We make him buy a bumper rack. Put on motorhome.
Ooh.
Gaylon, tell him to buy a bumper rack.
But if you want to touch the camera, not me. Gary.
Okay, bye. Okay.
You got to call him?
He's got to make phone calls at work, so he comes to me to make the phone calls for him. For example, if motor went out on his motorhome. Same thing on transmission. He blew a transmission. And I end up calling the AMCO man or whoever the devil it was. And all of a sudden it's me and the guy on the other end of the horn. And Rocky's just standing back, just grinning and smiling, and I'm fighting with the guy over Rocky's transmission, or whatever it is. And I wouldn't do that for anybody else. The other guys, I'd just tell them to go jump. They do their own problems. So then once in a while I tell Rocky that. And I say, look, Rocky, I can't help you. I got to write it down, I'm too busy. You got to do it yourself. And he gets a sad look on his face, like he's going to cry, and like nobody's helping him, and why me, and all that stuff. And then I feel bad, so I say, okay, I'll do it. And he works me that way. I know he does. But on the other hand, maybe it's easier for me to do it for him than it is to make him do it himself. Maybe I'm not fair. I don't know.
What this represents is someone standing barefoot on a wooden floor. When the music starts, it then causes the wooden floor to vibrate. The vibrations then hit the person's foot, and they can feel the music through their foot and get an idea of what the music is like. For example, it's the same type of thing as if I were to tap on the violin here. I'm then able to feel the vibrations. And something interesting I'd like to tell you is that deaf people seem to be more sensitive to vibration than hearing people are. Because hearing people depend on sound, whereas deaf people don't depend on sound, but instead they depend on feeling and eyesight for everything.
Okay, the difference between a deaf and a hearing mechanic is that a hearing mechanic can hear what's going on with the bike, and I can't. I have to do it by revving up the engine and feeling if it's running good or not. And I'm not so sure about this one. And if I'm doubtful, I have to look at the spark plug. Look at that. It's really wet inside, so it's running really rich. So that means I have to change the main jet in the carburetor to make it lean so that it will run better. So all I had to do was look at the spark plug, and that's the proof right there.
When I've got the TV on, or there's music or something that I'm not able to hear, I use the violin. That way I can feel the vibrations through the wood of the violin, and I can get the feel of the music through it. For example,
I'll tell you how to save it. A little more on my head. You don't want anything too extravagant.
I'm able to feel the music, to feel through it.
No, that's it, David.
I hear nothing, but I can feel the vibrations.
When a white guy turns to me and says, "Burn, baby."
I don't know. It feels like on the bottom, it pings. Like in the sand turns. Like up here, you go through the sand, just kind of like pings on the bottom. So maybe more speaking. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Because then, let's try that. Maybe that'll help it on the bottom too, as far as pinging. How about up here? Not so bad. Not so bad. Just flattens out. I think one main jet. Definitely. Okay. One main jet will do it. Some of the ways we work around him being deaf is he knows his job and I know my job. the first thing I thought about was, how could he jet the bike if you can't listen to it? How could you jet it? But it's like all the other mechanics, the rider's got to come in and tell the mechanic how it's running. I didn't know any sign language or anything, and I still don't. So I kind of thought about that, but he reads lips so well. I mean, it's just like talk, he understands everything you say as long as you're looking at him. Fast gas? Yeah. He's real sharp about picking up things just by seeing them. That's just it, just by looking. If someone, even like on the road, I'd think, well, how can he get along on the road, by himself, traveling and stuff? How can he communicate with people that don't really, know that he's deaf and they're talking to him and, he can't hear him, he's pumping gas and the guy's going, hey, don't do that, hey, don't do that, and he can't hear nothing. But he picks up things, like, how can he tell if his engine was blown up, in his truck? But he'll come into a gas station or something, and if somebody's looking at him, just a little funny, right away, man, he knows somebody's looking at him for some reason, and maybe there's something wrong, He's just got tricks about everything. Just week after week, he amazes me with the little things that he's learned and he's developed. Stand over here. Watch me through these turns, okay? Okay. Watch this. It's hard to explain how I treat him. I treat him like anybody else. He's just another friend and a good mechanic. Me go by and I can say something to him, and he can catch it right then, just by reading my lips. And maybe if I have something wrong with my bike, he can go back and get it apart, and maybe change it the next lap or something. He's got that advantage where he can read lips, and he'll notice something before another mechanic will. I don't think Rocky ever gets mad about himself being deaf or missing anything out. I'm sure he does, inside he feels, I'm getting shortchanged, He depends a lot on the other mechanics of the team, to tell him what's going on, and new things that's come in and develops and stuff. And he's got to get a close relationship with those guys because that's his whole source of finding out new information.
He's very curious. He gets like a little busybody sometimes because he's not sure what somebody else is doing, or he doesn't want to be left out here, or he's going here because he's not sure why this guy's doing that or who's doing what. So he gets a little overboard sometimes with that, but I think it's just natural, for his handicap.
At work, sometimes a couple of the guys will huddle together, Roy and my boss or something, and they'll be talking about something and they didn't really call me. And I'm kind of curious looking over there, wondering what's happening. So I might walk over there, and as soon as everyone starts leaving, I'll ask someone what they were talking about. And he'll say, oh, it was nothing, just bullshit. And I'll say, but what was it about? And he'll say, it's about the next race or something. It's not important. But I'll say, why did you talk for so long if it wasn't important? I mean, you talked for 30 or 40 minutes. You mean all that was just bullshit? I want to know what you're talking about.
Or it may be we're just saying, the lunch truck's here or something. But the littlest thing like that sets him off because he doesn't know exactly. He doesn't know. And he wants to know why. And so, and a lot of the times when we're just talking about something as simple as going to lunch or something, we'll give him a bad time about it.
Well, you see, objects have patience with me. And I have the ability then to communicate with the objects. Whereas people, they refuse to have any kind of patience with me. They get nervous and fidgety, all they want to do is take off. But the objects don't. They stay there. And I'm able then to communicate with them like in my art. Or with this sand, it stays here. And it's the same way that my brother feels. When he's working on something, he's communicating with that object, whether it be a wrench or whatever. And again, it's the same way I feel when I'm working on my art. I'm communicating with the art. I don't have to be involved with people. I'm focusing in on the art.